Welcome to my channel where I'm teaching my wife artificial intelligence. Welcome, Shreya. Introduce yourself. My
Hi,
worst student ever, I think.
I'm Shreya Bhattacharya. I hate programming, and it took Ajinkya 5 years and lot of sweat, blood, and fights to get me here. And
Yes.
through this, I hope we all can learn AI, which is the possibly the driest subject ever created. Thank you.
Yes. Awesome. So here we have Shreya, my wife, who is an artist, who is scientist, but who is not a programmer. And artificial intelligence is not domain of just programmers. Rather, it is more useful to all non-programmers. If you are a doctor, if you are an engineer, if you are a singer, if you are an artist, whoever you are, AI can definitely help you. And through this thing, let's see how useful it is to everyone. So, why AI? And this is the slide for it. So what is happening right now is AI has reached a level. Okay, Shreya. AI has reached a level, as you know, if you just go to Chat GPT or you go to Gemini, you can ask it anything. You can ask it about neuroscience, you can ask it about biology. क्या हुआ? Yes, go ahead.
There are too many colored bubbles, it's overwhelming you. What is
Okay.
this saying
Okay.
in short?
I will go on a bar chart. Less colors. Okay.
Yes,
Done?
yes.
Okay. So if you go to ChatGPT or Gemini, it knows everything, right? So why should we learn AI? This slide makes that point very nicely. Currently, if we test human IQ, right now human IQ, let's say if it is at the range of this thing, ChatGPT right now is higher than human IQ. Okay. Now the reason, yes, go ahead.
When you say IQ, what do you mean? Because the intelligence is of many different types, and is this Rattu Tota intelligence? Is it actual problem solving that it refers to? Is it emotional intelligence? Like there are, intelligence is a spectrum. So when you say human intelligence, I feel like it doesn't. I don't understand what it means.
Okay. So if we go back to IQ, how it was tested because they got a test which could be measured, and through the answers of that test, it it according to them it relates to intelligence. So I'm not going as a general philosophy of what is intelligence, what is emotional intelligence, social. No, none of that. It is problem solving in a test which was used to measure some kind of, let's say, logical derivations our brain can do. Okay. So it's not a very precise, you don't need to stick to IQE, IQE. This is more as a general capability of LLM. So if there is any scale, let's say it is if you can sing a song, if you can write a test, if you can study a subject, if you measure that capacity right now in 2024, these AIs are better than how humans are. And since 2019, if you go back in time, the capacity of them has been growing tremendously. So right now we are at a place where AI is a tool which not only we can use, but we can also customize. So Abhi, you are a musician, you are an artist. And if you want to learn a specific art or something, I know how much time you spent on Loomis method, trying to learn drawing, trying to learn all of these things. If you had an AI to whom you could instruct, Ki, I want to learn this, these are the books, these are the examples, and learn from it. So your limitations, they can be, overcome if you can train an AI. And that's why AI is so important now. Anyone who can code AI, they can actually make it better than where they are, and they can actually customize it to fit any situation you have. So a doctor could train an AI, a artist could train an AI, a singer, and any combination. You can build the AI for your use case, and that's why AI is so important. Okay, and the another website which is a very good point for it is this Skilled by LLM. So on this website, if you go back in time, it is all the problems, all the benchmarks which LLM is able to solve now. Okay. And there is a top exam here. It's very fun, the name. Humanities Last Exam. This exam is a list of 2,500 questions by domain experts in physics, chemistry, maths, all these things. And what is the cutting edge of problems and everything, these have been defined. Right now, these problems are so hard. You see on the right hand side, accuracy of other problems, the columns here, 80-90% for these problems. But when these LLMs give this exam of humanities last exam, the score is 2%. That's how difficult this exam is. And if you compare it with killed with LLM, yes, go ahead.
Like, go back.
Ah,
Okay. This accuracy of LMs across benchmarks. What are these things? HLE, GPQA, Math, MMLU.
these are different capability measuring benchmark. And in AI, you have to know something. Any word which sounds complex, it is something simple. It's just complex to just make it. There is something called as Hella swag. There is something MMLU, GLU, something.
You know,
It's
swag
just,
means something totally different
yeah,
in
yeah, I know,
comments.
I know, I know.
AI kills swag. That's what I heard.
These are just benchmarks to measure its capability. My point here is right now, this LLMs can't even meet this at a score of 5%. But if we check the trend of how good they are becoming, in next 2 years, even this problem will be solved by LLM. So by learning AI, you can train, it's a constantly improving field. And once you learn how to write neural networks and train them, you can do anything. Okay. So that's why this fundamental skill is very important. So let's jump into it directly now. Okay. So the thing for it is this course, Kaggle Learn. We will go to this course called as computer vision here. Okay. So I will send you the link here on the chat. Okay. So open this link.
Hmm.
Okay. And we will we will start executing this code. Okay. So do sign into Kaggle and we will start solving this.
Okay.
So I will code it here. You can open this notebook and on the top side on the this button which you see here, I'm hovering over it. Check on the screen. This
Um,
button. Perfect. So this is my screen and let's start with the first neural network code.
okay.
Okay. So before that, first thing you should know is a relationship between this, what is very common called as model parameters. Okay. So these are the standard models right now. And on the right hand side, how big the model is determines how many parameters it has. So a bigger model has larger parameters, smaller model has smaller parameters. Okay. Each parameter takes around 4 bytes into its memory. So in hard drive, if there are 1 trillion parameters, it means it is going to take 4 TB in hard drive. So as you can see, even on a desktop or a laptop, it's not going to run. So even if GPT-4, which we use it so well, which is very intelligent, because it is so huge, it can't be run on a regular CPU, just on a cell phone. Yes?
A more basic question.
Hmm.
What is a parameter?
Okay. A parameter is a simply numerical value. So if I say 3.3, this is a simple value here, and you can call any value a parameter. And a
Yeah,
neural net.
but I mean, what do
No,
they
what it
rep?
is, we'll come to that later in
Okay,
contextualizing with this thing. I just
okay.
wanted to make this point, get into habit of thinking as how many number of parameters and what is its size in memory. Because most people talk about LLM, but they don't have any relationship with how much memory it's going to take on hard drive. So if you want to run GPT, it is going to require 4 TB of not just hard drive. It is going to require 4 TB of RAM. It's not just storage, it's RAM. Okay. And these models, they run on GPU. So it is not just RAM of your desktop, which is like 32 GB ka DDR. No, no, no. It's RAM of GPU. And the most expensive GPU, which costs $50,000, it has 40 GB or 80 GB of RAM, no more than that. You can get 4 TB of RAM, but you can't get 4 TB of GPU RAM. It's hard. So bigger the model, larger the RAM required to save it. And we require this. Why? Because the code which we are doing now, you will now understand that ऐसे ही मॉडल को बड़ा करने से चीजें सॉर्ट नहीं होती. Because if you increase the model size, it increases the RAM, it is increases the training time. So all of these things are part of the whole big picture. Okay, that's why we took this detour into parameter. क्या होता है? पैरामीटर इज जस्ट न्यूमेरिकल वैल्यू. एक पैरामीटर को 4 बाइट लगते हैं, और एज यू कैन सी उसके हिस्से मैपिंग होगी. सो फर्स्ट इज दिस कंप्यूटर विजन, अ कन्वोल्यूशनल क्लासिफायर. सो व्हाट अ न्यूरल नेटवर्क इज, इट इज वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग. What it is like, instead of teaching something, for example, when a kid is being taught A for apple, B for ball, C for cat, D for dog, uh, a child might be shown 10 to 20 images of apples, 10 to 20 images of balls, and they will understand all kinds of cats, all kinds of balls, right? Here on a neural network, a neural network is not as intelligent as human at all. It requires at minimum 10,000 pictures of same object to learn what it looks like. But the advantage is, once we have learned something, the neural network is available for us to use directly. So once we learn, we don't have to make it relearn. We can use it as is. So that's why kind of neural networks are useful. Once we have a base model which has learned something, we can use it anytime. So this is what this image is saying. Old types of classes, if a neural network is trained on it, we can easily make it learn something new. For example, if a neural network has learned to identify balls, we, we can make it identify rubber balls or football or basketball or anything. Okay. So that's the thing. एक basic knowledge सिखा दो and you can build a subtle knowledge on top of it. So उस चीज का ये कोड है. ठीक है. These coding, we won't go into its detail right now. It's just downloading the kind of data we have. So यहाँ पे data is only two types, whether it is image of a car or a truck, or there are other tutorials which learn to identify between a cat or a dog. ठीक है. The problem is irrelevant now. Why? Because if this neural network can learn cat versus truck, car versus truck, it can be made to learn anything. It can learn protein folding. It can learn how to do nuclear fusion. It can learn anything. So this is a very toy example just to make you understand neural network. Okay. So in this code, if you simply run it, it reads the data and it simply makes it available for us to view. Okay. So I'm gonna run this. You run it by pressing Shift and Enter. So this Python code, it is a bit complicated. Don't get worried by this. This Python code will be run and we will start doing the neural network code. Okay. So
Codes that look like this make me cry. Thanks.
don't leave this. Let's execute this. Let's execute this. Okay. And width. this part, our lecture is done. ठीक है? So this concluding part is where we conclude with this LLM parameters जो हम बात कर रहे थे. So this kind of like builds into our starting point of neural network, which we will do from the next lecture. ठीक है? So this is extremely small sentence. You can see here, TensorFlow is the library from which there is another library inside it called as Keras. The reason Keras is a good library is it's easy to read. ठीक है? So from that you can see tf.keras. It has a sub directory in it called as models. It has a function in that called as load model, and you specify a path, and that model is available to you,
Okay,
trained
okay.
as is with
What is
nothing.
VGG16?
This is like I told you before. Anything which is a complex word, it's mostly to scare you. It is just a name. Just like large language models have something is called as
Okay,
Phi Llama.
slightly off topic.
Hmm,
How does one, such as me, even begin to speak code jargons? There is, if you go to learn any language, if you listen to a lot of songs and gossip in it, you pick up on it.
correct.
How do you, how do you
Here
even?
you don't you here I think you learn to ignore. So for example, if someone is hitting on you and you want to ignore that person, it's like you don't look at it directly, you tune it out. It's the
I
same
can't
logic.
tell that anyway. It's not irrelevant. I have no idea
Okay.
if people told me. Choose a different example.
Okay, then parents. Let's say your mom is nagging you. And you can't do anything, so you have to tune it out and you have to. So it's the same thing here. What we do is like when you read something, we look at what is unknown. ठीक है? In deep learning, don't do that. Look at what is known, what is easily understandable, and
But
ignore the rest.
what if all of it is unknown? Where do you start?
is इसलिए this is like you have to look for English words. Python is tries to keep it as close to English as possible. So यहाँ पे ये दिख रहा है केरास मॉडल तो वर्ड समझ रहा होगा राइट मॉडल्स लोड
Honestly,
मॉडल
before this, whenever I've heard you say Keras, I thought it's keratin shampoo. That is how it has registered in my brain. I'm like, what? So, yeah, I guess there is no real answer to this question. You can start wherever it starts making sense, I suppose.
Okay, I guess these two words are important. Model and load a specific model, and to that you give this path. So this doesn't matter. Okay. And this has been saved into this variable called as pre-trained base. I could call it anything, but it has been called as pre-trained base. ठीक है? So यहाँ पे the lecture, the place where we are going to end the lecture is pre-trained base dot summary. So this is a function which is part of Keras library. And when you enter this, this gives you the neural network, what it looks like internally. Okay. So any neural network is made up of different neurons. You did the lecture from neural networks from scratch, where it had a very simple neural network of a single neuron with three inputs. Okay. So when you have a single neuron and three inputs, it kind of looks like this. Here in this thing, there are large number of neurons and there are large number of parameters. Okay. Here in this code, a single value, numerical value was one parameter, right?
Yes,
Here
correct.
in this, each layer, which is this whatever the name is, it has 1000 parameters. This has 36,000 parameters. This has 73,000. This has 1 lakh. So if you scroll down, scroll down, scroll down, at the bottom you have these many parameters, which is 14 million parameters. Okay. So 14 million parameters get saved in 56 MB size. And this 14 million allows you to do cat versus, not cat versus dog, this is car versus
Car
truck.
versus truck.
Okay. The fun part is what are the capabilities available in million parameters. So going back to this thing, right now there are certain models. which in 100 to 200 million parameters can do all text to speech or speech to text. So if you want to build an app which is kind of like for a doctor which can hear what you're saying and reply into some language, it's a very interesting use case. Can be done in 100 million parameters. Okay. And how does that look like? It looks like this. If you want to see how the code is internally, then you write another code cell and I just type the pre-trained base as is and I press enter. Okay, I was expecting it will give us the source code, which it didn't.
This is what happens. This is where I feel betrayed by everything and everything around computer science programming. I question everything.
Okay, chalo,
What
let's
do you do
try.
when stuff like this happens? मेरे को सपना थोड़ी ना आएगा वार्स लिखना है वहां पे. And
Yeah,
then you
there are
get
only
this
there are
result.
only two functions which you
It just
try.
somehow you tried to solve it saying wars, and then the answer it gave is gonna make you
Is
cry
even
even
worse.
more.
Yes, yes. Yeah, like I said, you have to learn to ignore stuff and find out what works. Okay. मुझे भी इसमें से कुछ पता नहीं चल रहा है. This numbers, blah blah blah. I'm just scrolling down. I'm looking at what I can understand, and scroll down करके eventually यहाँ पे अलग-अलग layers दिख रहे हैं. So I'm like, फिर भी doesn't make any sense. फिर भी doesn't make any sense. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna ignore this. So these functions are good because they give you list of everything present in a model, and sometimes you find a useful thing. So maybe build config, get compile config. Let's try this function, get build config.
To
Let's
do
see.
what? What are you trying to demonstrate?
I was trying to show you the internal code of this model. I was expecting when I write this pre-trained base as is, it will give me the code, but it didn't. Maybe I do it like this. No, it didn't. So
It's
I'm
going to
trying some
trigger
different functions. Fuck, no. Okay, anyways, let's go back to summary.
it.
So this model which we have, it has multiple layers and each layer has different parameters. So in the rest of the lectures, we will learn how this code can be written. A simple example here is at this bottom. Okay. So this similar code can be written in this extremely simple way. I add layers dot
This is
dense.
better. This looks better. Yes.
Yes. And this layer has 6 neurons at this place. Okay. And it is followed by a function called as activation function. And then the next layer is another layer. Okay. And it's even simpler one. So if I execute this and now then I do model dot summary, you will find here this is the neural network which we copied as is. And यहाँ पे at the bottom, there are only two extra layers which we added here. So this is the process of writing a neural network. If
Okay.
you write a big enough neural networks, eventually it becomes a big neural network with billions of parameter. And you just train it on a big data and it learns this thing which we were talking about, something with IQ of a human expert, a PhD equivalent. So
Are
eventually,
PhD people gonna get offended by this?
yeah, they will probably. That's why they should also learn AI. So here on Hugging Face, you will find list of everything these LLM and AI models can do. They can do summarization. They can do image generation. They can
But
do
can
video
they learn?
generation. Yeah, if you say I love you, it can say I love you too. But that's the extent of it. There are a lot of relationship robots, chatbots, which people who can't get partners use them.
I know, I
So
married one.
मैं तो robot नहीं हूँ. मैं तो I'm very human. There is a book
That's what
inspired by
AI
me.
says.
There is a book inspired by me.
Most human.
This is a
You
book.
have totally written this.
The most human. So yeah. Okay. So this is just
Okay.
the start of the neural network thing. We'll build on top of this, we'll train it, and that will be the rest of the lectures.
Okay. Thank you
Okay?
for your lecture. Thank you
Awesome.
for keeping patience with students like me who cry at the bare mention of programming. I feel like
Yes.
99% of people are like me only. And dua lagegi.
Yes. Yo.